And welcome to this week's learning update. This week, I'd just like to acknowledge that I'm coming from the lands of the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation, and I've got Sally Randall with me this week, who's the National Training Lead for Emergency Services. And Sally's coming from the lands of the Kaurna people in Adelaide. Welcome, Sally.
Welcome. Thank you, Anthony. It's nice to be here.
And we're going to have a chat about the volunteer leadership program. So a lot of people have heard about the volunteer leadership program, but we've never really probably discussed it in detail. And I was privileged to come along and participate up at Wagga Wagga a little while ago, and had a great weekend up there with yourself and a whole bunch of great emergency services folks. What we thought we'd just today have a bit of a chat about it and understand a little bit more. So perhaps, Sal, if you could start with the relationship with ADAR and Red Cross.
Yeah, thanks, Anthony. For those people that are not sure about what AIDA is, it's the Australian Institute of Disaster Resilience, and it's run by the federal government. And it's run as a consortium. So there is a number of partners within AIDA, and Red Cross is one of the vital partners within the AIDA program. And our role is to deliver the volunteer leadership program on behalf of the Australian Institute of Disaster Resilience.
Thank you, and thanks for unpacking that acronym. We were going to do that in the beginning. Fantastic. So, as I said, I went along to the course. It was over about 3 days, and it was an immersive course, and we covered a lot of things. So we're not going to be able to cover everything now, but we thought we'd just have a chat about a few of the key things. We talked about the courage to lead, Sally. What sort of things do we cover there that would be interesting for our volunteers?
I think the thing for me around courage to lead is that it's people getting a really good understanding that it actually does take courage to lead. When you lead people, you're opening yourself up to vulnerability. Yet sometimes you're opening yourselves up to criticism from the people that you are leading. But getting a good understanding about how you fit within that space is really important. We also talk about different leadership styles and when to use different leadership styles, and why it's really important to be able to change from one leadership style to another when you're working and supporting volunteers in the different roles that they undertake.
Yeah, that was a fantastic. I do recall, it's very different in day-to-day normal sort of peacetime as it is to when we're in operations as well. So we did talk about the different modes that you have to be in for those
Yeah.
different sort of situations. And we talked about how to lead and motivate volunteers.
Yeah, that's a big topic. It's a huge topic, and it's one of the ones that we find that people who do the training identify as being one of the really important topics for them. So we unpack some of the things that stop people from volunteering, some of the things that will inhibit people's ability to volunteer to the best of their ability, and what some of the things we can do as volunteer leaders to ensure that everybody has a really good experience when they come to the volunteer leadership program, but also when they go back and they can use those skills within their teams.
Yeah, it's and we'll talk a bit about the immersive experience in a little bit, but that was wonderful to be able to come together with other volunteers that had like experiences across the group that we were in. Tough conversations. I saw that on the agenda on the first day, and I thought, well, gee, that's going to be a good juicy topic.
It is a great juicy topic. There's a couple of things that we unpack with that. It's about how to have tough conversations, but more importantly, it gives people some tools that they can use when they are looking to have a tough conversation. But more importantly than that, it's about having those conversations before they get tough.
Yeah.
It's about having them early rather than waiting till they get really ugly and then nobody wants to have them. Because if you're anything like me, Anthony, one of the things you shy away from is the really, really, really tough conversation rather than just having it when it was just at the tough one. So we give people tools and skills for people to use. What we find in this particular section is that the experiences that people are having in different organisations are always the same as the ones that you're having within your organisations. It seems to be across the sector. There is nothing new. And that is quite reassuring for people. They think, oh, our organisation is not the only one.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, exactly right. And there's a number of moments in there. So, look, so I came to the course as a state emergency service volunteer, and I've been in leadership in state emergency service for many years. And it was wonderful to be able to sit in that room with like-minded people and talk about these things that we've all had to work through and move through, and sometimes without a lot of support. So it was really good to
Yeah,
be able to talk
yeah.
about those things and get some great tools for that. And problem solving was another one that spiked my interest.
Yeah, problem solving is one that we do, which again is a different way of looking at how to problem solve using different people to get a different perspective on a problem. So we look at cognitive diversity. So in this particular section, we put people into groups. We look at things like gender balance. We look at different organisations. We look at people with different cognitive diversity, because everybody comes with a different thought and feel about how to solve a problem. And it's quite hard for the person who has the problem, because we ask them to keep quiet for 10 minutes. So, that in itself is pretty tough when you've got a problem you want to share with people.
Yeah, that was a great exercise actually, and the group brought some really curly
Oh,
questions, but they were real. They were absolutely
absolutely.
real and grounded questions, and it was a
Yep.
great session. And I mentioned just before, it's an immersive experience, and I saw that before I came up, and I thought that's interesting. I'm not quite sure what that means, but how does it work for you, Sally?
So for us, it comes in two ways. I think it's about immersing ourselves into the topic, exploring ourselves as leaders, whether it be that we're a new leader to an organisation or we're a leader who's been there for a long time, immersing ourselves and allowing ourselves to really sit with the material, but also explore different ways that you can work through problems, concerns, different things that you may be experiencing in your organisation. It's very much around people unpacking the information for themselves. It's certainly not me sitting there telling you what you need to do. There's very little of that. The richness of the program comes from the people who sit in the room and share experiences and share things that they can bring to the training.
Yeah, you did right. That's exactly what it was, and but I also think the facilitators, both of you, did an amazing job at making us feel
Thank
comfortable
you.
in that,
Yeah.
because it does sound like a little bit of work, but it really wasn't. It was natural and it flowed, and we just moved in and out of those periods and groups and did some great work. So thank you so much, Sally. I hope this sort of helps people to understand a little bit more about the program. And I'll also be adding to the post and through our other materials that we promote these on, that there's a course coming up in September in Melbourne, and
Yes.
we'd really be keen to get some Red Cross folks in. It's a great opportunity in Melbourne. I don't think I've seen it come around in Melbourne all of the
No.
time. So it's a really good opportunity to get something locally. So, like I said, I'll put all that up on the post. Thanks so much, Sally.
Thank you. We'd love to see you there.
Good on you. Thanks.